Now, before I ended up marinating the pork belly, I did have it sit in the fridge for 2 days to dry out. But then it got saturated in the marinade. So I just got a towel to it and took off any of the excess marinade and moisture on it. Now, could I have turned the pork belly over after I marinated it? Sure. Did I? No. Did it matter? Also no. If you saw the video of me marinating this pork belly, you would have known that I kept a bit of the marinade aside. I threw it into a pot on low heat just to evaporate any liquid in it, then went in with some extra virgin olive oil. Let that cook on a low temp for a few minutes. Then I cranked up the heat and deglazed the pan with some white wine. Now, the white wine would lift anything that was stuck to the end of the pot, but also create a lovely flavour for the beans. And it was absolutely amazing. Now, I'm using a dried pinto and cannellini bean here, so they did sit soaking in the fridge overnight in cold water. I got rid of that water and then chucked them into the pot. Homemade chicken stock cubes. And of course now a store-bought stock cube will do just the same job. Filled up that pot then with cold water, brought it to the boil, and oh, I forgot, I also added bay leaves in here as well. Well, crumbles. Now I brought these beans up to the boil, and you can absolutely cook them on the stovetop, but I wanted to put them underneath the pork belly so the juices from the pork belly would drip into them. But the mistake I made here was actually cooking too many beans. When this was sitting in the fridge for 2 days to dry out, I didn't salt the top of it. So this is the first time this pork belly has seen salt. I'm using Diamond Crystal kosher salt here, but table salt will work grand as well. Just don't be stingy with it. It really does need the salt. I very loosely covered this with tin foil and then popped it into the oven. And as always, the full recipe is in the caption for you, but this video has been sitting on my phone for quite some time. I just made some rice to go alongside of it. Oh, and then my homemade chunky chili oil. After 2 hours then, I just took off the tin foil and very carefully lifted up this rack and gave the beans a bit of a stir. See, I would have liked less beans, so I would have been able to have more liquid in the tray. But even still, I just cranked up the oven for the last half an hour to get that incredible crispy pork skin. Now, I just like a saucier bean. That's why I wish I had less beans in here. But because I knew we weren't going to eat all these beans, I decided to make a puree out of the beans just for quesadillas during the week. Also a lovely alternative to some hummus. And there she is, lads, in all of her pride and glory, the most stunning looking piece of pork belly. Now, I'll tell you, I wasn't always the biggest fan of pork belly just because it's a little bit too fatty for me. And this is the first time I've actually ever cooked pork belly. But this was the most tender, flavourful pork belly. I'm officially hooked. Oh my God. Skin was so crispy and flavourful. And I said to my husband, the fat just melted in your mouth. It nearly just became a sauce. Go on, pop the kettle on and get cooking. Slán!